The country's largest bank, State Bank of India, has surprised on the positive side in its second quarter results. The bank's standalone net profit jumped nearly 52% year on year, beating most expectations. On all parameters, the numbers are looking good. So now what is the detailing behind the numbers? To speak on this, I am joined now by Chairman of State Bank of India, Mr. Dinesh Khara. Mr. Khara, thank you so much for speaking with ET Now. Let me first get your sense on what is the big story coming out from the quarter two numbers. I had the opportunity of joining in your press conference earlier today, and you talked about how this underlined the economic recovery story that we're seeing overall. Could you elaborate on that point?
Well, Tamanna, I think this year has actually witnessed all kind of uncertainties. And of course, when it comes to the first quarter, we had seen the muted activity, economic activity. And with every passage, with the passage of every subsequent week and fortnight, we are seeing much better traction. So I think as on September, of course, it was, I would say that the quarter which was July to September was also mixed when it comes to the initial first or 2 months, or one or 1.5 months. But thereafter, we have seen a definite improvement in terms of economic activity. As far as the economy in general is concerned, I mean, we hear from our corporates that their activity level is back to about 70 to 80% of the pre-COVID levels. And even at the bank, I would say we are at almost about 90% of the pre-COVID in many respects. And in certain areas, particularly when it comes to our personal segment loans and our liability franchise, we would be actually we would be at 100% of pre-COVID levels. So I think in the current year, this is going to be the phenomena. With each subsequent month, we are going to see a better economic activity, and which in turn will reflect into the stronger economic numbers also. In fact, we at State Bank of India, we do some kind of a assessment in terms of the economic activity, and we come out with a composite index. So when we look at that composite index in the month of September, that number was at 58. In September 20, and in October 20, that number stands at 59.3. And when it comes to the various indicators showing acceleration, there are about 39 such indicators where we have seen the accelerated activity in the month of September itself. So that actually augurs well when it comes to the Indian economy.
Mr. Khara, my question to you was on the provisioning. Now, the concerns with banks and public sector banks also is that do we still have the full picture? Considering that the moratorium shadow is still hanging on us because there is a case in the Supreme Court, banks are restricted from declaring those businesses or those accounts as NPAs, which ordinarily may have been NPAs. Do you think that there is a very real and valid concern that we may not have the full picture of how this story will develop in the quarters to come?
See, when it comes to the Honorable Supreme Court's interim order not to go for the stamping of the asset classification, what we have done is we have identified them on a pro forma basis. We have not stamped these accounts, but nevertheless, we have identified these accounts based on the principle which are applied for NPA identification. And based on that, we could establish that the number which you have indicated, about 14,388 crore, is essentially on account of that. And for that, we have provided for at the rate of 15% which is 3,194 crores, is something which you have already provided for such accounts. The fact of the matter is that in the subsequent month, in the month of October, we have pulled back almost about 6,000 crore out of this 14,000 odd crore also. So, which means that this provision which you have made, this would be on the higher side, will have some cushion going forward. The other aspect is the restructuring application. We have already received the restructuring applications, which are about 6,500 worth of 6,500 crore worth of applications, we have already received. And as per the RBI restructuring circular, we are required to provide for at the rate of 10% for such restructuring accounts. So we have also provided for that. So I would say that whatever is a visibility in terms of the NPA norms, uh, we have tried to account for all such kind of slippages, and we have also accounted for uh, the provisions, and we have charged those provisions to our P&L.
So I'll just ask you one more follow-up on that. Is there enough visibility? Is it possible for you to right now know what the full picture could be?
I would like to say that what we have a clear visibility, because whatever NPA norms are there till September, we have carried out the comprehensive exercise. Going forward, how it will really pan out, that is something which we'll have to wait and watch in the current quarter. But there also we have tried to estimate that what is the likely scenario, and that is something which we have indicated in our slide on slippages.
Okay. I just want to ask you about, Yono, Mr. Khara. Yono is becoming a very exciting sort of growth story all by itself at a time when UPI transactions have crossed 2 billion in the last month. What is your estimate of the kind of valuations of Yono going forward and its contribution to the overall system?
I would like, I would not like to hazard on the valuation piece, because as of now it is something which is sitting within the bank. But on a estimated basis, whatever estimation is that, considering the activity which we have on Yono, and almost about 25 million registrations, which we get to see, which are there on Yono, and the kind of functionalities which we have offered through this app, um, we are. I mean, our expectation is that it would have contributed somewhere around 1,000 crore to the PBT of the bank. So, but of course, going forward, we expect that we can leverage this platform even more. And when it comes to any customized product, it's a super app which offers not only the banking, but it also offers the financial superstore, and also it offers the e-commerce functionalities also. So to that extent, this app has got multiple functionalities, and it's a very versatile app. We are scaling up this app. Earlier we had introduced it only for the Yono into the personal segment. Now we have introduced it for Yono Agri, which is essentially we are using it for review of accounts, our KCC accounts. We have also introduced Yono Business. We have introduced Yono Global. So Yono, under the Yono brand, we are trying to offer all kind of commoditized product with a simple click, and we should be in a position to offer this kind of a convenience to the customer segment. So that is what our thought plan is. Our pre-approved personal loan, we are seeing very good traction in this Yono, and during the COVID times, actually it has actually shown up its capability. Almost about 30% kind of loans, 35% kind of loans into the per segments were handled through Yono. So it's a great super app which we have, and we would like to leverage its functionality going forward also.
I'll ask you just one last question, Mr. Khara, because I know you're tight on time, and that is about interest rates and specifically deposit rates. Now, you have had robust deposit growth in this quarter as well, and meanwhile, FD rates have been slashed quite a bit. Do you see this trend continuing? What is your sort of projection for fixed deposit rates?
Well, I think as far as the policy rate goes, and in fact, policy rates are one of the major determinant when it comes to when we fix up our MCLR and our deposit rates. And also, we also look at the kind of appetite for the credit growth. So I think it will be a function of the credit growth and also the policy rates. So how really these variables pan out going forward will be something which will help us in deciding our deposit rates.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Khara, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.